Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Echo versus Outlier. I'm Harrison.
And I'm Natasha, and we are so excited to be back with you for another episode.
That's right, this is episode 3, and today we're really diving into something I think we all experience, maybe without even realizing it. We're talking about confirmation bias, or as we're calling it, why we only hear what we want to.
Yeah, it's such a pervasive thing, isn't it? Like, it impacts so much of our lives, from the everyday decisions we make to, bigger societal issues. So we're going to really explore what it is and what its impact truly is.
Absolutely. So, Natasha, to kick us off, when we talk about confirmation bias, what are we actually referring to? At its core, it's really this tendency we all have, to seek out, interpret, and even remember information in a way that just confirms our existing beliefs.
Yeah, it's like we're constantly looking for evidence that says, "See, I told you so," right?
Exactly. And ignoring or just flat out dismissing anything that, goes against what we already think, it's quite powerful. And this concept, actually, it really gained traction in the 1960s, largely thanks to a psychologist named Peter C. Wasson.
Oh, I remember hearing about his work. He did some really interesting experiments, didn't he?
He did, yeah. One of the most famous was called the 2-4-6 rule test. And basically, in this experiment, participants were given 3 numbers, 2, 4, 6, and told that these numbers followed a specific rule. Their task was to figure out what that rule was by suggesting other sets of 3 numbers, and Wasson would tell them if their numbers followed the rule or not.
So people would try to find numbers that fit their guesses of the rule. Like, if they thought the rule was increasing even numbers, they'd try 8, 10, 12, right?
Precisely. And that's where the bias really showed up. Most people would only offer number sequences that confirmed their initial hypothesis. They'd stick to things like, 8, 10, 12, or 10, 12, 14. What they didn't often do was try sequences that might actually disprove their idea. Like, they wouldn't try 1, 3, 5 or 4, 2, 1.
So they weren't trying to falsify their own belief. They were just trying to confirm it. Even if their initial guess was wrong, they'd keep finding evidence for it.
Exactly. They were looking for confirming evidence, not disconfirming evidence. And that's what Wasson's work really highlighted, how strongly people avoid evidence that would, challenge their existing beliefs. It's pretty fascinating.
So that's the what of confirmation bias, right? We're looking for what confirms our beliefs. But I guess the bigger question is, why are we so prone to this? Like, why do we fall into this trap, Harrison?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, it helps us process information really quickly, for one. Our brains, they love efficiency. So we use these things called heuristics, mental shortcuts. It's just like faster to go with what we already know.
Oh, so it's a bit of a cognitive laziness thing almost.
Kinda, yeah. It's a quick way to make sense of the world. But also, and this is a huge one, there's a lot of emotional comfort in it. It feels good to be right. It feels like unsettling to have your beliefs challenged, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Nobody likes being wrong, right? It's like, nope, my belief is safe here in my head.
Exactly. And then there are also memory distortions. So we tend to remember information that fits our narrative better and, sort of forget or downplay anything that contradicts it. It's like our memory just filters things for us.
That's fascinating. So It's not just about what we seek out now, but how we recall past information too. And speaking of how we get information, what about echo chambers? I feel like that's a huge part of this these days, especially with social media.
Oh, huge. I mean, echo chambers, they just reinforce everything. You're surrounded by people who think like you see news feeds that show you content you already agree with. It just creates this sort of feedback loop that makes it really hard to even encounter a different perspective, let alone consider it. It just, solidifies that bias even further.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of agreement, isn't it? So we've talked about what it is and why we do it, but where does this actually show up, in our lives? Because it sounds like it's pretty pervasive.
Oh, it's everywhere, Natasha. I mean, think about your personal relationships, right? If you've already decided someone is forgetful, you'll probably notice and remember every single time they forget something, but you'll overlook all the times they're super organized. It colors how you see people.
Huh. Yeah, I can totally see that. Like, if you're convinced your friend is always late, you'll just focus on that one time they were 5 minutes behind, even if they were early for the last 10 meetups.
Exactly. And media consumption is a huge one too. We tend to gravitate towards news sources that confirm our political views, our social beliefs. It's why we get stuck in those bubbles, those echo chambers we just talked about. We're actively seeking out headlines and stories that tell us what we already believe.
Oh, for sure. You see it all the time with, which news channel someone prefers or what social media feeds they follow. It's just what they want to see, really.
Absolutely. And then, believe it or not, it impacts really serious things like hiring decisions. A manager might have a preconceived notion about a certain type of candidate, and they'll unconsciously look for evidence during the interview that supports that initial impression, whether it's good or bad.
Wow. So it can lead to some pretty unfair outcomes there, too, then. And I also remember reading somewhere that it even touches on mental health, like anxiety or depression.
Yeah, it does. Researchers suggest that confirmation bias actually contributes to things like anxiety, depression, and even cognitive rigidity. If you're constantly confirming negative self-beliefs, it's pretty hard to break out of that cycle, isn't it? It just reinforces those unhelpful thought patterns.
That makes so much sense. It's like if you think, I'm not good enough, you'll seek out every little thing that proves you're not good enough, and you'll miss all the things that show you are.
Exactly. And it's not just personal stuff either. It has a pretty significant impact on scientific research. I mean, scientists are human, right? So they might unconsciously interpret data in a way that confirms their hypothesis, leading to misinterpretations or, even flawed conclusions.
That's actually pretty scary when you think about it. If even science, which is supposed to be objective, can be swayed by this bias, it really shows how powerful it is.
It really does. It's why, peer review and rigorous methodologies are so important in science to try and mitigate that human element of bias.
Wow. So we've talked about how confirmation bias just permeates everything from our relationships to science. It's kind of daunting, actually. But Harrison, is there anything we can actually do about it? Are there strategies to combat this?
Absolutely, Natasha. That's the good news. While it's a very human tendency, we can definitely work to mitigate it. And, it starts with being really active in how we approach information.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the first step?
So, the first strategy, and it's a big one, is to actively seek disconfirming evidence. Instead of looking for what proves you right, ask yourself, what would prove me wrong? Try to falsify your belief, not just confirm it. It's like being your own skeptic.
Oh, that's interesting. So if I think my city's public transport is always late, instead of just noticing every late bus, I should actually look for the ones that are on time or even try to find data that says it's mostly on time?
Precisely. It's challenging that initial assumption. And then, related to that, is engaging with opposing viewpoints. Don't just follow or talk to people who agree with you. Actually seek out those with different perspectives. It broadens your understanding.
That's a tough one for some people, I think, especially like online. It's so easy to just unfollow or mute someone who disagrees with you. But you're saying, like, lean into that discomfort a little bit?
Exactly. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with them. Just understand their perspective. Another really practical thing you can do, and this one's quite effective for decision-making, is to simply write out both sides.
Oh, like a pros and cons list?
Yeah, exactly. Or a for and against column. It forces you to consciously evaluate all the evidence, not just the stuff that supports your initial hunch. It really helps you see the full picture.
That makes so much sense. I mean, it's a classic technique for a reason, right? It physically makes you acknowledge the other side.
Right? And then finally, for this first part, apply the scientific method to your personal beliefs. Form and test hypotheses objectively to challenge your own assumptions. It sounds really academic, but it's basically taking that scientific rigor and applying it to your everyday thinking.
So if I believe, I don't know, eating carbs makes me feel sluggish, instead of just avoiding carbs, I could try a structured experiment where I carefully track how I feel on days with and without carbs, objectively.
That's a perfect example, Natasha. It's about being deliberate and objective, rather than just letting your preconceived notions guide you. It's about really getting to the truth of the matter.
That's so smart. It's like being your own personal scientist, huh? Just collecting data on your own life.
Yeah, exactly. And it really helps. But we're not done with strategies yet. We've talked about active approaches, but there's also a big internal component to this.
Oh, good. Because sometimes it feels like my brain just defaults to the easy, biased way. So what's next?
Well, a really important one is to simply pause and reflect. Before you make a judgment, or even just form a strong opinion, take a step back. Give yourself a moment to just allow for unbiased thinking. Don't immediately jump to conclusions.
That's easier said than done, I think. Especially, when you're in the middle of a heated discussion or, scrolling through social media. Everything is so instant.
It is, right? But it's a muscle you build. And tied into that, for group settings, is designing what they call bias interruptions.
Bias interruptions? What's that?
It's like in a meeting or a team discussion, you explicitly assign a devil's advocate role. Someone whose job it is to challenge the consensus, to find holes in the argument, to present the opposing view, even if they don't necessarily believe it. It forces everyone to consider alternatives.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just me trying to do it in my head, but actually building it into the process. That's clever.
Yeah, it's a very conscious effort to break that echo chamber effect within a group. And then another really powerful one, moving back to the individual, is practicing mindfulness.
Mindfulness? How does that help with confirmation bias?
Well, mindfulness helps you recognize your biased thoughts without immediately acting on them. You observe them. You notice, oh, I'm having a thought that's really confirming what I already believe. But you don't necessarily, buy into it fully. It creates a little bit of distance.
So it's about awareness then, like just being able to identify, okay, that's my bias talking right now, rather than just blindly following it.
Exactly. It's that moment of recognition that gives you the power to choose how to respond. I'm speaking of awareness. A fundamental strategy is simply to educate yourself.
Oh, like what we're doing right now on the podcast?
Precisely. Learning about cognitive biases in general, understanding how they distort thinking, just knowing they exist and how they operate gives you a huge advantage. It's like once you know about a magic trick, it's not so magical anymore, right? You see the mechanics.
That's so true. I mean, before we started this podcast, I had heard of confirmation bias, but I didn't truly grasp how deeply ingrained it is or how many different forms it takes. It's really eye-opening.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that leads us perfectly into the next strategy, which is all about encouraging what's called psychological safety.
Oh, psychological safety. So that's like creating a space where people feel comfortable expressing their thoughts, even if they're, unpopular or go against the grain.
Exactly. It's about cultivating environments, whether it's at work or within your family or even just your friend group, where questioning and rethinking are not just tolerated but actually welcomed, where people don't fear judgment or repercussions for challenging an established view. Because if you're scared to voice a different perspective, you're just reinforcing the echo chamber.
Right. And it's so important for breaking free from that groupthink, isn't it? If everyone's just nodding along, you never really get to challenge the bias.
Precisely. And then the final strategy, which is really an ongoing practice, is to regularly revisit your beliefs.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just like a one-and-done thing.
No, it's definitely not. It's about making it a habit to reflect on whether your beliefs still hold up under new information. Like, have I learned anything new that challenges this? Am I still seeing this the same way I did 5 years ago, even though the world has changed? It's a constant process of re-evaluation.
That makes sense. It's like a mental spring cleaning, almost. You're just checking to see if everything in your belief cupboard is still, fresh and relevant.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard because we get very comfortable with our beliefs. But it's crucial if you want to be truly objective.
So, wow, Harrison, we really covered a lot today. I mean, from understanding what confirmation bias is, all the way to 10 concrete strategies to fight it.
Yeah, we really have, Natasha. I think the biggest takeaway for me, and hopefully for our listeners, is just how pervasive confirmation bias is. It's not just some obscure psychological concept. It genuinely impacts like every single aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. And that's why managing it, being aware of it, is just so crucial for balanced and, objective thinking. I mean, it's not always easy to question your own assumptions, but it sounds like it's incredibly important.
Oh, it's definitely not easy, but it is so worth it. And hopefully these strategies we've talked about today, like seeking out disconfirming evidence or writing out both sides, or even just pausing to reflect, can give everyone a practical way to start broadening their perspective in their daily lives.
Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Echo versus Outlier. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you listening. And hey, if you enjoyed today's deep dive into confirmation bias, please consider subscribing to the podcast.
And leaving us a review. That really helps us out. We've got some fascinating topics coming up for you in future episodes, so you won't want to miss those.
Absolutely. So, until next time, this has been Harrison.
And Natasha.
Signing off from Echo versus Outlier.
See ya.